governor. Now, Gates has faced a lot of controversy, especially after being chosen as Attorney General by President-elect Donald Trump. But Gates has now stepped down from the role this week, saying his nomination has become too much of a distraction. For more, let's welcome in President of the American Principles Project, Terry Schilling, along with author of The Longest Con and Editor-in-Chief at the National Memo, Joe Conason. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Good to see you again. Joe, I'll start off with you today. Now that Matt Gaetz is out of the way, is it smooth sailing for the rest of Trump's picks?
Well, I think the Gaetz stumble has really sort of changed the whole process. Prior to that, President-elect and his team were talking about doing them all through recess appointments. The entire cabinet was going to be appointed through recess appointments, unprecedented attempt to avoid any senatorial scrutiny. And now they are not, I'm not sure they're going to get away with that. I'm not sure they're going to try that. Senator Thune, who is the new majority leader, said, we're going to go through the regular process now. And I think that could be difficult for some of these appointees. You look at Pete Hegseth is definitely having problems because of these allegations of sexual misconduct or worse on his part, let alone whether he's experienced enough for this job. But so no, I don't know that it's smooth sailing. I think the seas became a little choppier after the Gaetz mistake.
Terry, your response to Joe's comments?
Look, I think Democrats should look at this last election as a tale of caution for their obstructionism that they're planning. Yes, it's true. Trump was planning on doing these through recess appointments, but that's for one very simple reason, is that Democrats don't cross party lines, even when the candidates are wholly qualified and perfectly good for the job. They will hold up everyone. For example, Democrats got 20 Republicans to cross over party lines and support Merrick Garland, of all people, a guy that weaponized the Department of Justice against parents and called them domestic terrorists, threw 72-year-old grandmothers in jail. So listen, I think that Democrats are going to fight this. I think they're going to try and hold it up, but it has nothing to do with the merits of the nominees. And in fact, the more qualified and the better they will do at cleaning up these departments, the more likely it is the Democratic Party will fight them. But they're going to have a different electorate going into 2026. People want President Trump to be able to get his agenda accomplished, to secure the border, protect our families, and I would advise a strong bit of caution to Democrats if they plan on obstructing him.
Joe, who would you like to see as the next DOJ?
Well, the president-elect has already chosen. The president-elect has already chosen Pam Bondi, a crony of his from Florida. I wrote about that this week, a column that will be published shortly. I don't know that she's the greatest choice. She's probably better than Matt Gaetz from a political perspective, who was a terrible mistake on their part and showed the recklessness of their process. I mean, I read that he was chosen on, within minutes on a flight from, Florida to Washington, and that they didn't really give him any vetting at all, which is unbelievable. So I assume they vetted Pam Bondi. We'll see how she does.
Terry, what about you? Who would you like to see there? I feel like you're probably not going to disagree with Trump's choices here. So now give us what are your takes on people like Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr.?
Look, I think Trump is hitting it out of the park right now. All of these people are dogged reformers who are experienced and can weather a storm. And look, I will just say, you can do all the vetting you want, but at the end of the day, safe candidates like Brett Kavanaugh, a literal Boy Scout with the cleanest resume ever, are going to get insane accusations just thrown at them out of nowhere that have no credibility. And even if you don't have those types of accusations, the Democrats will use your membership in the Knights of Columbus against you, right? This is a party that will make a big to-do about anything, and they would be very unwise to do that.
Joe, is there any one of Trump's cabinet picks you support?
Well, that's a hard question. Let's see.
Not really, but
I would say, comparatively, I would say Marco Rubio is a relatively sane choice compared to some of the others, like Robert Kennedy Jr., who is responsible in large part for a measles outbreak in Samoa that killed lots of people. I mean, so that's not a great choice. Rubio is an experienced person in foreign affairs and, is as qualified as many other people who've been appointed Secretary of State in the past. So do I support Marco Rubio and believe in everything he believes? No. But is he a relatively qualified and reasonable choice for Secretary of State? Yes.
Last 15 seconds to you, Terry. Marco Rubio.
I love Marco. He's going to do a fantastic job. I will say I'm most excited, absolutely mostly excited about Linda McMahon taking over the Department of Education. She's a well-accomplished, very serious businesswoman, and it's exactly what parents need leading up that department.
All right, gentlemen,
I thought they were abolishing that department, no? Is that not on the agenda anymore?
We got to reform it first, Joe. Come on, let's do this.
You have to reform it and then abolish it. Okay.
Maybe it's a temporary position. You never know.
Yeah, temporary.
It's temporary. It's
temporary position.
Have a great Thanksgiving, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Happy Thanksgiving to the both of you. Thanks for joining us.